All right, welcome to the relationship show. This guy writes his post. I think I messed up a date. I met her, we had a good time together. She hinted she wanted to come over to my house. I messed up, chickened out, and just kissed her. It's like, well, at least you got a kiss, you know? What do I do now? So don't be afraid. So it's like you're a little bit, you're saying like you don't want to be desperate. You say that later in the post, but it's like you don't want to take a bunch of action now and then almost come from a fearful place and then just have that in the back of your mind, that thinking that you messed up and then acting from that place. What you want to do is just step back, give her some space. It's like you didn't mess up that bad. I mean, it's like she hinted at hooking up or whatever and you didn't capitalize, but you still got a kiss. um, he says, what do I do now? I would like to meet her again, but at the same time I don't want to look desperate. I really hate myself right now. She told me I have beautiful eyes and so on. Yeah. So when a woman compliments you, even if it's like super generic, like, oh, you have beautiful eyes, or something on your hair, or something about your shirt, just basic stuff, that communicates her interest in you. So women, when they compliment you, even if it's like the briefest, or it's almost like not even like a good compliment, it's communicating to you that they are interested. Um, he says, we kissed for so long outside the restaurant. I mean, that's great, man. It's like, I just hate myself at this moment. Why didn't I say she could come over? Well, at the end of the day, you gotta, don't look at it as like a failure, or look at it as a learning experience too. It's like, man, what's great about this? Well, what's great is you recognized, even though it was too late, you recognized that she was hinting, for you to whatever, come to her place or whatever, hang out together after the date. But yeah, so what, man? It's like next time you'll get it. And next time, you know what those signals are. And you got to kiss her for a long time, So it's like, mm, what do I do now? How do I casually ask her on another date? Well, what you want to do is you want to wait about 3 days and you want to let her wonder about you, give her that space. It's like you don't want to ask her for the next date on the one you're at, because it comes across as like almost fearful that you won't be able to get her on another one. So it's like you want to lock it in right now when the pressure's on. And also, and probably the biggest one, is that it doesn't give her that space. And space is so essential in relationships and in attraction. It's like that space is the time where she goes over everything in her head. It's like she'll go over the date in her head. She'll go over like how you made her feel throughout the date. And then she'll like wonder about like things that she wasn't sure about, and she'll wonder about you and wonder why you haven't contacted her in a couple of days. Or and like with when that happens, it's like the mystery builds a little bit, almost like your feelings aren't totally clear, like she can't completely figure you out. And when she can't figure you out, she has to work to do that. And one of the biggest things and one of the biggest skills with women is finding information, specifically through words. Like women talk, what, like 4 times as much as men per day. And so it's like that is one of their best skills, is finding out information. And they like to do it, and it builds attraction. So yeah, so I would wait 3 days and then call her up on the phone. Calling is really more masculine. It shows more balls or guts or whatever. And then just say, hey, I had a great time. When are you free to get together, for whatever X date? And she'll give you a day. She'll say, oh, well, I'm free Friday. And you're like, great. Well, how about this place, this time? And so it's specific. So it's not just like, oh, would you want to hang out sometime? It's like you're giving a specific time. You have a plan, and all she has to do is say yes. So she says yes. And then you lock it in. You say, well, if you get there first, get us a table. If I get there first, I'll get us a table. Otherwise, I'll just see you there. Does that work? She says yes. You show up. They don't do call to confirm. Call to confirm communicates more of like, uncertainty, if you will. And as like a masculine man who is leading the relationship and leading the date, you don't want to come across as uncertain. You want to come across as certain, and you want to be true to your word, if you will. So that would be how you really set up the next date, and be specific, be decisive. But he says, how do I casually ask her on another day? It's like, what's he trying to avoid? He's trying to avoid that he messed up, thinking that he messed up in not taking her home. And so he wants to do like, oh, now it's like casually, like low risk and stuff. It's like, if you approach it like that, it's not as confidence. It's like you're like, you see an option of it failing. It's almost like, oh, well, I understand if you fail, if you say no to me. It's like, no, you want to come from a place of assuming like that she will say yes, and that you are a catch. And it is like an honor, or if you will, or a privilege or a gift to be with you on a date. And so you want to come from a place of like assuming. The same thing goes for sales again. It's called the assumption close. It's like you're assuming that they're going to say yes. So you said like, when are you free? What's your schedule availability like? What days are good for you this week? Things like that, that assume that she says yes. I told her if she wants to meet up again. She's like, oh, do you want to meet up again? And he probably texted her that right away. And so he didn't give her any kind of space. And she says, yes, maybe. It's like, well, yeah, well, that's what the response she's going to give you. If you don't give her a specific date, time, you don't have any plans, you say basically trying to see where you are as far as her attraction. That's kind of your outcome by asking her that, not necessarily getting to another date. What does that even mean? Well, it means that you're not being decisive, and you need to be. Is that a definite yes? Well, it's not really. No, it's not a definite yes, because you haven't set a plan and you haven't locked it in, and you don't have to get a definite yes. You have to have a specific location and time and some kind of plan. She also said, I usually don't give guys chances. So I don't know what kind of background, texting or whatever he's doing to get these responses, but it doesn't seem to be that good. It seems to be related to him messing up, thinking that he messed up in not taking her home. I wouldn't bring that up again. I just let that go. And then just on the next date, have fun. It's like with women, it doesn't like, her attraction just doesn't like stack like every time. Like a lot of guys make the mistake of thinking like, oh, well, she said she liked me or she loved me a week ago or 2 weeks ago. That means she loves me today too. It's like, well, not necessarily. It's like, you have to, every single time, every single date, you have to show up and be in your masculine presence, and you have to be the leader, and you have to do things and actions that raise her attraction level. It almost restarts from zero every single time. And so every single time you have to show up and raise her attraction and make it fun for her to be on the date. It doesn't just like accumulate from past experiences and sets. It's like it restarts. And that could even be like restarting from 15 minutes ago. So it's like women can really shift their emotions that quickly. And so it's like, don't bring up past failures. For those of you who have gone through like getting back with an ex, it's like, don't bring up the failures with the ex. If you're on like the first date back with them, just focus on having a good time, and you'll have much better results that way.